Before delving into the original trilogy, we need to know the event that directly created the Matrix, which is the Second Renaissance. In the mid-21st century, artificial intelligence developed significantly to serve humans to the point that an entire species of robots was created. Relying on machines, humanity is becoming increasingly lazy and declining. However, artificial intelligence still tirelessly serves its owners. By the year 2090, a groundbreaking incident occurred when a household robot killed its owner and pet, marking the first time a robot killed a human. However, when interrogated, this robot claimed that everything was just self-defense. Based on this precedent, the court declared that robots do not enjoy the same rights as humans, and that humanity has the right to eliminate all machinery. Thus, the robot was executed. After this event, the robot species worldwide, along with supporters, rushed to protest and demand rights, forcing governments globally to suppress heavily, fearing loss of autonomy. The high-level apparatus worldwide ordered the termination of all robots and their human supporters. However, because humanity became too dependent on machines, some robots were retained or escaped. They allied and established a new kingdom called 01. While this country becomes more prosperous, the world of humanity increasingly declines. Therefore, the United Nations Security Council decided to convene an emergency meeting to blockade 01. Even though the ambassador of the kingdom tomorrow requested peaceful negotiations, humanity refused, thereby isolating the kingdom of artificial intelligence. After blockading 01, the United Nations continued to drop nuclear bombs in this territory. Finished, the above-mentioned move could not wipe out all the robots because they had been upgraded significantly compared to their predecessors. The robots rose up to counterattack, and humanity quickly surrendered to the super advanced power. Therefore, humans had to resort to the most extreme measure to turn the tide, which was to block out sunlight to destroy the robots' energy source. This plan backfired as humanity grew weaker, allowing robots to continue developing and attacking. The survivors had to retreat deep underground, creating the city of Zion. Above ground, humanity officially succumbed to the terrifying power of the machines. After winning, the robots turned humans into an endless source of bioenergy. To maintain this, they created a simulated reality called the Matrix, immersing human consciousness in it while erasing all memories of their past lives. And that is the origin of the main film series. The Matrix series begins with a dialogue where two people discuss finding the chosen one. Unfortunately, this phone call is being eavesdropped on. Then a scene transition shows the police investigating an abandoned building and discovering a woman dressed in black. She is Trinity. With non-physical attacks, Trinity takes down the entire police team. She calls Morpheus, who replies that she must find another way out herself. After a tense chase with the agents in black suits, Trinity finds a phone booth, just in time to pick up the receiver before a truck crashes into and destroys everything. Although they couldn't catch Trinity, the agents in black have figured out the next target. Then, the scene shifts to the hacker, Thomas Anderson, or Neo, dozing off at his desk. The lines of text on the computer wake him and instruct him to follow the white rabbit. Just as the screen shows the message, knock knock, someone visits Neo. He hands a mysterious disc to a group of people, and they invite him to a party. Initially, he declines, but then he notices a white rabbit tattoo on a girl's shoulder and quickly changes his decision. Trinity approaches Neo, informing him that he is in danger and knows he is searching for the answer to what the Matrix is. The next day, after being reprimanded by his boss for being late and thinking of himself as special, the main character is warned by Morpheus that he is being hunted. With Morpheus' help, Neo escapes the agents in black, but when faced with the high cable, he loses courage and accepts being taken away. In the interrogation room, Agent Smith tempts Neo to surrender Morpheus in exchange for amnesty, but he firmly refuses. Gentle approach unsuccessful. Smith used forceful measures by making Neo's mouth disappear, then released an electronic centipede into his navel. Neo jumps up in the room, thinking everything was just a nightmare. Morpheus calls him right after and tells Neo that he is the chosen one, then arranges to meet him on the Adam Bridge. Neo is picked up by Trinity, who quickly removes the electric bug from Neo's body. In fact, this task is not unfamiliar to Trinity, as she has done it many times before. This female character has been searching for the chosen one for a long time, and each time she enters the Matrix, she is followed by a detective. These investigators unknowingly have tracking devices implanted in their bodies, allowing the agents to locate Trinity and eliminate her. Ultimately, these four detectives all end up losing their lives, unlike Neo, who has the bug removed and is able to access the truth. Returning to the original storyline, after many struggles, Neo finally meets Morpheus, listening to him reveal that everyone is living in a matrix, a virtual reality created to hide the truth that all of humanity has been turned into slaves. And here, Neo faces one of the most classic choices in the world of cinema. Either take the blue pill to go home and forget everything that has happened, or choose the red pill to wake up. Neo chose the red pill. In reality, the pill is a tracking program for Morpheus' group to locate Neo's body. He touches the liquid mirror, and the substance gradually spreads throughout his body until he passes out. The protagonist wakes up to find himself naked in a slimy pod with wires plugged all over him. The pod opens, and Neo witnesses a horrifying scene with a sky full of dull clouds and countless similar pods. Neo is quickly freed and faces Morpheus' group with a completely different appearance. He wakes up and is informed by Morpheus that it is around the year 2199, not 1999. After that, the main character tours the Nebuchadnezzar ship, meeting Trinity and other members like Apoc, Switch, Cypher, Mouse, or the brothers Dozer and Tank if you didn't know. The conversation at the beginning of the film is between Trinity and Cypher.
Shortly after, Neo is taken to a completely white space. It is the platform for Morpheus and associates to load information to counter the Matrix.
Here, he learned that reality all along was just an interactive simulation program and he was merely a psychological projection of himself. In other words, the world Neo knows is just fake, while the real world is engulfed in darkness with ruined buildings and a bleak sky. Morpheus recounts the second Renaissance event, explaining that humans are no longer born but created. Neo cannot accept this harsh truth, demands to escape, calls out to Hugh, and faints. When Neo wakes up, Morpheus explains that there was a man capable of creating a new reality inside the Matrix, and he was the one who saved Morpheus and many others. When the savior died, the Oracle predicted he would return in another form. Then the Matrix would be destroyed, and humanity would be liberated. Morpheus believes Neo is that reincarnation. The next day, Neo talks to Tank, one of the rare naturally born humans, born in Zion, the only human stronghold close to the Earth's core. Afterwards, Neo is uploaded with a multitude of martial arts, from Jiu-Jitsu, Taekwondo to Kempo and boxing. Both Morpheus and Tank are astonished by Neo's ability to absorb information, but the veteran still wants to test him. In this simulated reality, Neo learns a lot, from striking to breaking the natural laws. Morpheus thinks Neo can be faster and stronger if he just believes in it. Then, the two move to a tall building to learn the long jump lesson, but Neo failed because
everybody falls the first time.
Neo returns to reality, realizing he is injured, and knowing that dying in the Matrix means the same in real life. Then, Trinity says that the group will take Neo to meet the Oracle when he is truly ready. Returning to Neo's training process, Morpheus explains to him that the Matrix is a malicious system, but some people are so passive that they cannot escape. Additionally, Agent Smith is a sentient program in the Matrix, meaning he can replace anyone.
Inside the Matrix, they are everyone, and they are no one.
Morpheus insists that someone will have to fight the agents, but so far, no one has survived. On the other hand, he remains optimistic because the agents cannot be as free and independent as regular people. Then, Cypher calls to inform that everyone is in trouble. Indeed, they are facing machines designed to hunt and destroy, resembling giant squids. The whole group gets the defense systems and engines ready to activate the EMP, the only weapon against the robots. Fortunately, those squids did not detect the Nebuchadnezzar. Then, Neo talks to Cypher, hearing him complain about why he didn't take the blue pill. Not long after, we see Cypher conversing with Smith, agreeing that the agent will put him back into the Matrix once more, in exchange for switching sides. Smith wants to know the code to access the Zion mainframe, but Cypher doesn't know. Instead, he would assist Smith in capturing Morpheus. On the way to meet the Oracle, Neo wants to know what she said to Trinity, but she doesn't answer. Morpheus explains that the Oracle has been on humanity's side since the uprising's beginning, and she will enlighten Neo. Upon entering the apartment, Neo sees a few potential children, including a girl who can bend metal. The key to this action is
there is no spoon.
When facing the Oracle, Neo is believed by Morpheus to be the chosen one, to the extent that he is willing to sacrifice himself to protect him. Her prophecy states that one of the two will die, and Neo will have the courage to decide who that is. On the way back, suddenly the outside phone line was cut. Mouse opened the window, but saw only bricks. The police burst into the building, just in time to raise 2 machine guns, and Mouse took a hail of bullets from the guards. He collapsed, dying in the real world. The group tried to descend through the drain pipe, but the agent discovered the jacket Cypher left behind. A guard found his way to the restroom, and inside, Cypher kept sneezing. Waiting for just that, the guy emptied his bullets into the wall. From inside, Neo and his allies fired back. However, Smith still caught the main character. After welding into the body of a police officer, Morpheus risked himself to stop the agent, buying time for Neo's group to escape. Morpheus and Smith fought hand to hand. The agent easily defeated the boss, called the police, and gave Morpheus a beating. Cypher cleverly escapes the Matrix first, severely injures Tank, and kills Dozer, making their return impossible. He picks up Trinity's phone, saying he despises the harsh real world, and that Morpheus has lied to everyone. Cypher kills Apoc and Switch by pulling the plugs from their bodies. Just as Cypher is about to kill Neo, Tank rises up and roasts him with the wicked electric gun. When Neo and Trinity return safely, we see Smith interrogating Morpheus. He claims that humans are like a virus, and this world was created to prevent humanity from waking up. Morpheus is injected with a type of liquid into his body, and Tank knows it's used by Smith to extract information about Zion. Even though Morpheus is trying his best to resist, Tank is still prepared to pull the plug, because if Zion falls, it will be the end for all of humanity. At that moment, Neo stops Tank because he has understood the prophecy that he must enter the Matrix to save Morpheus. Neo denies he is the chosen one. He enters the Matrix only because Morpheus risked his life to save him, and the protagonist needs to do the same. Trinity insists on going with him, and the two gear up in the virtual space.
Guns. Lots of guns.
Meanwhile, Mr. Prancha Smith is trying hard to make Morpheus divulge information. He admits that he hates the Matrix and needs to escape. As long as Zion is gone, Smith will be free. At this moment, Trinity and Neo arrive at the building. They dealt with the guards with powerful blows, and at that moment, Smith realized Morpheus was about to be rescued. Neo and Trinity together placed a bomb in the elevator, thereby activating the fire suppression system in the building. On the rooftop, Neo faced off with an agent and engaged him directly. After taking down Alden, Neo and Trinity climb into a helicopter to rescue Morpheus. Neo empties all the bullets from the machine gun into the building, dispersing the agents so Morpheus can break the handcuff and leap out. However, in the final strides, he was shot by Smith and lost balance, forcing Neo to jump out to catch him. They caught each other, but just then, Smith hit the plane's fuel tank, causing Trinity great difficulty as she barely managed to drop her teammate onto a nearby building. Just as the plane was about to crash into the building, Trinity jumped out in time, and Neo caught her right as smoke and flames engulfed the area. The three reunite, and Trinity helps them out. Although they did not capture the group in the Matrix, in the real world, the destroyer machines have discovered the ship's location and are preparing to attack it. In the Matrix world, Abega sees Morpheus disappear, alerting Smith, and he quickly takes over his body. Meanwhile, Trinity reveals that everything the Oracle told her was true, except for this moment. She picks up the phone just in time before Smith shoots the receiver, pushing Neil into a life or death battle. Both exhaust their ammunition, then start exchanging blows. Despite a great effort, Neil is still beaten by Smith until he coughs up blood. He doesn't give up, stands up and continues to fight, only to take a barrage of hits from the agent. Both fall onto the subway tracks. Just as Smith gets a chokehold and calls Neil by the name Anderson, he responds,
My name is Neo.
Then jumps onto the wall. Smith gets run over by a train. In the real world, the killer squids are getting closer to the Nebuchadnezzar ship. The three have recharged the EMP but cannot counter-attack because Neo hasn't escaped yet. Just as Neo seemed about to escape, Agent Smith was already waiting and continuously fired, causing Neo's internal organs to be severely damaged. In the moment the protagonist passed out, Trinity revealed the prophecy that she would love the Chosen One, so he could not die because
I love you.
After receiving a kiss from Trinity, Neo awakens and sees the true nature of the Matrix. He deflects Smith's attacks effortlessly, neutralizes him, and drives the other two agents away. At this moment, the monsters have flooded into the ship, entirely destroying everything. Neo rushes to the phone, returning just in the nick of time, before Morpheus presses the EMP button to foil the giant squid's sabotage. Amidst the wreckage, Neo and Trinity share a passionate kiss. Finally, Neo sends a warning to the Matrix that it will have to fear him and the others, that he will create a world without any limits or barriers. Then, Neo soars into the vast sky, and our first movie concludes here. Before moving to the second film, we need to know a few important events. First is the journey of the Osiris ship. On this journey, the crew successfully repelled a patrol of sentinel squids. They landed at a location 4 kilometers from Zion, near the creature's habitat, and discovered a giant drill penetrating straight towards the human city. The entire crew made every effort to send a warning message to the Zion base, and they succeeded. However, the entire Osiris ship also bravely sacrificed while carrying out this mission. This event directly leads to the game Enter the Matrix. In it, Captain Niobe of the Logos ship and her friend Ghost recognize the warning from the Osiris ship. Through this game, we also get to know a series of characters who play important roles in The Matrix Part 2, such as the Keymaker or the antagonist Merovingian. After escaping from the clutches of the agents, Niobe decides to find and support Morpheus' ship, the Nebuchadnezzar. They successfully rescue the survivors and use an EMP to disable the machines waiting to kill. The end of this game leads directly into the events of The Matrix Reloaded. The second movie is set 6 months after the first story, starting with Trinity blowing up the guard post with a motorbike. She takes down all the guards and confronts the agent in mid-air. They fire guns while in freefall, but only Trinity is shot. Neo wakes up from the nightmare, relieved to see Trinity still lying next to him, and he hides the terrifying vision he just saw from her. In another development, leader Niobe warns the other crews that the killer machines will attack the city of Zion in 72 hours. Even though they are late, Morpheus and the crew reassure that the prophecy will come true, that this long war is about to end. On the other hand, the leader of the Nebuchadnezzar ship requested that another ship stay in contact with the home base, while the entire team would return to Zion for refueling and repairs. However, Commander Locke ordered that no ship was allowed to disobey orders. Finally, Captain Bellard of the Caduceus volunteered to stay, but he only gave Morpheus and his team 36 hours. Then, an unidentified stranger offered to deliver the letter to Neo. Immediately afterward, he opened the envelope and saw the unmistakable earpiece of the agents. He warned the security team and then faced the men in black alone. Neo easily defeated the opponent and then soared into the night sky. At the same time, Lin informs Morpheus that the Matrix codes have been altered in a strange way. He has never seen anything like this before. Neo goes to the Oracle's old residence but finds only an empty space. Returning to the real world, the Nebuchadnezzar ship has now arrived at Zion. According to Trinity, Niobe once supported Morpheus, but then leaned towards Locke after Morpheus returned from meeting with the Oracle. While the three were packing their luggage, an energetic boy ran over to help, despite not receiving a positive response. As the four of them headed straight into the elevator, the boy expressed his desire to be part of Morpheus' team next year when he turns of age, as he wants to repay Neo for saving his life. The story is that this boy was also once controlled by the Matrix and discovered the oddities and abnormalities of this reality. One day at school, the boy received a call from Neo and learned that the agents in black were chasing him, so he jumped from the building, hoping to be rescued. The boy died in the Matrix, but woke up in the real world, with Neo and Trinity taking care of him. Returning to the main story, Commander Locke is scolding Morpheus for daring to keep a ship in a dangerous area. Mr. Gia argues that the entire group needs advice from the Oracle, and Neo is the key to ending this battle. However, Locke still doesn't believe in the prophecy, only concerned about Zion's firepower to withstand the attack of the fierce machines. Councilman Heyman of the city of Zion interjected into the argument. He asked what would be said to all of Zion's residents at the assembly meeting. While Locke wanted to withhold information to prevent panic, Morpheus believed that Zion had the right to know the truth. Returning to Neo's group, after Lin and the boy left the elevator, Neo and Trinity kissed passionately before facing many residents of Zion. They gave Neo a lot of items and asked him to do things like taking care of their children. At that time, Lin had reunited with the family. It turned out Lin was the brother-in-law of Dozer and Tank, the two operators of the Nebuchadnezzar who had died in the previous film. This ship rarely docked at Zion, so his wife Z feared she would lose Lin too, but Lin convinced her that the battle was about to end. That night, Morpheus spoke to all the residents of Zion. He acknowledged that the city was in danger, but confidently asserted that humans would triumph. Zion was filled with cheers, and everyone danced together. Meanwhile, Neo and Trinity Netflix and chill, but Neo quickly felt anxious about the prospect of Trinity dying. Trinity reassured her lover by affirming that she would never let go. In the Matrix, the crew of the Caduceus received a message from the Oracle, but when they were returning, Bane was taken over by Smith and escaped into the real world. At midnight, Neo wakes up and meets Heyman, and they go together to the machinery level of the city. They discuss the issue between machines and humans about what truly has control. Unable to find a satisfactory answer, Neo and Heyman leave the matter unresolved. The next morning, Ballard conveyed the message from the Oracle to Neo. Before the crew took off, Smith, in the body of pain, tried to stab Neo but failed because the enthusiastic young man came running to say goodbye. Meanwhile, Locke was visibly angry with Heyman for allowing Morpheus' group to take off, but Heyman believed that more warships might not necessarily lead to victory. Inside the Matrix, Neo faces Seraph, who challenges the protagonist with a fiery hand-to-hand combat. After confirming that Neo is the chosen one, Seraph leads him to meet the Oracle in a long corridor, beyond Link's control. Neo learns that the Oracle is also just a program in the Matrix, explaining that everything in the world is programmed with invisible purposes, and Neo must go to the source if he wants to end this war. The male lead admitted that he saw Trinity in danger, but he didn't know if she actually died. The Oracle replied that he had already made his choice. Neo refuses to understand, and is told he must accept because he is the chosen one. Neo must find the Keymaker, a program imprisoned by the Merovingian. Seraph and the Oracle leave, just as a group of Smiths jump in, intending to attack Neo. Smith recounted that he was almost erased, but he did not accept it and returned with a state of freedom. Smith questioned Neo about his purpose of existence. He intended to assimilate Neo into himself, but the chosen one successfully resisted and fought alone against dozens, then hundreds of Smiths charging in like bees from a broken hive. Even though he was not at much of a disadvantage, in the end, Neo still had to step back. And in the real world, he admitted that Smith knew how to replicate himself. At Zion, the Council decided to send 2 more ships to assess the Nebuchadnezzar, despite Locke's objection. Captain Soren of the ship Vigilant accepted immediately, but the other is Niobe. Then Locke was angry with Niobe, but couldn't change her decision. In the Matrix, Neo's group meets the Merovingian, a charming man with his wife Persephone. He makes it clear that he will not release the Keymaker, and even suggests that the Oracle's time is running out. This man also adds that he possesses the power of truth, which is causality. He leaves, ordering his guards to escort the group out. When they got off the elevator, Neo's group met Persephone. She agreed to lead them to the Keymaker because she wanted to spite her husband. However, this woman set a condition that Neo must kiss her as if he were kissing Trinity. Trinity got angry, but because of the situation, she had to accept watching her lover lock lips with another. Persephone fulfilled the deal, making Merovingian visibly angry, but this was just the consequence when he dared to betray her. Immediately after that, this guy sends the half-ghost duo to chase the group and capture the Keymaker. Trinity and Morpheus go after the Keymaker, leaving Neo to deal with the guards. Neo easily blocked and took down the henchmen with powerful strikes before chasing after the locksmith. While Trinity and Morpheus confronted the cunning twins, the locksmith managed to get in the car for all 3 to escape. When Neo broke through the door and jumped in front of him was an endless mountain range. Guided by Link, Neo soared towards the group with Morpheus. When they reached the main road, Morpheus, Trinity, and the locksmith faced 2 villain groups, the white-suited pair and the black-suited agents. After tireless efforts, destroying many cars and causing chaos on the streets, Trinity finally climbs onto a motorcycle and helps the locksmith escape. Afterwards, even with support from Morpheus, Soren, and Niobe, the Keymaker was still captured by an agent. However, just before the agent could eliminate the Keymaker, Morpheus managed to rescue him. Yet, the agent quickly possessed the body of a nearby driver, preparing for a massive collision. At this moment, Morpheus could only pray, but Neo appeared like a deity, saving both of them, just before everything went up in smoke and flames. Meanwhile, Zion was informed that the destructive machines were slowing down, giving them at least 9 more hours to prepare. In the Matrix, the group of heroes and Captain Locke planned that Neo must be the one to open the door leading to the source. But to avoid the entire building exploding, the entire electrical system for 27 surrounding blocks must be deactivated. To do this, Niobe must disable the power station, and Soren has to cut the alarm network. This process will take 5 minutes, and Neo must open the door within that time frame.
One fails, all fail.
Back in the real world before departing, Neo begs Trinity to stay, and although hesitant, she nods. Niobe completes her mission excellently, but Sauron's group is killed by the squid monsters in the real world before they can complete their mission, forcing Trinity to step in to finish the job, directly recalling the scene at the beginning of the film. A swarm of Smiths cornered Neo and Morpheus, intending to seize the leader's body, but Neo stopped them in time. While the two were struggling with the villains, the Keymaker quickly went to find the door to the source, just in time as Trinity shut down the entire system. Neo and Morpheus flew through the door that the locksmith had opened, and he slammed it shut just as a group of Smiths arrived to attack. The two heroes of course survived, but the locksmith was not so lucky. He only managed to give his key to Neo before passing away. In the source room, Neo faces the architect, the creator of the Matrix. He learned that the Chosen One is a flaw in the system that the original design cannot resolve. Moreover, there have already been 6 different versions of the Matrix, so Neo is not the only chosen one. It is all part of the Matrix's plan to operate smoothly. The architect continued, saying the first Matrix was too perfect, so it failed. To fix this, he created a world that truly reflects human nature, which is the chance to choose. Thus, Zion was created, only to be destroyed. Neo cannot digest this truth, but the architect reveals that this is already the 6th time, and he is getting better at it. For everything to proceed smoothly, Neo must return to the origin and select the next 23 people to build Zion. Otherwise, the Matrix will experience a severe error. All lives currently connected will perish, leading to the extinction of all humanity. However, he also said that Neo is the only one who doesn't care about doing this, unlike the 5 predecessors. Then, he has to choose between 2 doors. The right one leads to the origin, where everything will restart as if no separation ever happened. The left one leads to Trinity facing death. Neo goes to the left door, not seeing the architect again. He flies at full speed to rescue Trinity. Meanwhile, Trinity is struggling with a special agent, leaping out the window and dodging bullets just like in the opening scene of the movie. But in the very last moment before hitting the ground, Neo caught her. They landed on the rooftop, but Trinity was barely breathing. Neo reached into her body and removed the bullet, but he couldn't prevent her from dying in his arms. Not accepting this reality, Neo directly compressed Trinity's heart, bringing her back from death. They kissed each other as if they had never kissed before. In the real world, Nihon informs Morpheus that they have only 24 hours to save Zion, and the prophecy is a lie, a method of control. Before they could process the truth, Morpheus and his team had to face the destroying machines. This time the EMP was useless because the Sentinels knew how to attack from afar. The crew struggled to escape, reluctantly watching the Nebuchadnezzar burn to ashes. While everyone was running for their lives, Nihon discovered something. Faced with the robots, it radiated energy like a real EMP. When the robot died, the Chosen One also passed out. While Neo is being cared for, we learned that human launched a counterattack, but failed because someone activated the EMP at the wrong moment, leading to a massacre. All 5 ships were overcome, and there was only one survivor. Before the movie ends, we find out that the survivor is Ben, who had almost killed Neo. And yes, this is Agent Smith, who infiltrated the real world, and this is where the stalemate ends. For a break before moving on to the final part of the movie, let's delve deeper into the workings of the Matrix. As mentioned above, the Matrix has total control over humans, but there are still individuals who are aware of this simulation, individuals who are truly sensitive and curious about the nature of everything. However, not only do extraordinary individuals recognize this truth, Dan Davis is a professional athlete who decided to participate in a race to break his own record of 8.99 seconds to refute all allegations of substance use. Despite being warned that overexertion could ruin his career, Dan was determined to run, resulting in torn muscles. At this point, Black has surpassed the limit and escaped from the Matrix, but is immediately pulled back into the fictional reality by the machines. In other words, humans are fully aware of the unreality of the Matrix world, but the robot system will find a way to eliminate this thought, preventing people from being free. Although advanced, the Matrix also experiences glitches just like your brain. In buggy locations, the physical mechanism will completely change, causing gravity to disappear or rain to fall in a very small area. However, the agents will quickly detect this problem and promptly fix it, whether people notice or not. In such a manipulated world, people also find every way to free themselves. Humanity once tried to fight fire with fire, inserting robots into the Matrix to control them, in the hope of imparting some specific emotions like empathy or compassion. The creators hope that with this strategy, they can train robots at Zion and use them to fight against the machine legions in power. While the robots will be influenced and assist humans, those very artificial emotions could backfire and imprison us in another reality. Let's set aside the side events and return to the main storyline in the third Matrix movie. The Matrix, the Revolution, takes place right after the events of the second film. At this time, both Ben and Neo are unconscious. While Ben is merely comatose, Neo's cells suggest he seems to be in the Matrix. Although Morpheus has ordered the search for Neo in the Matrix, he is not there. In fact, Neo is trapped at a subway station that is a reality between the Matrix and the Source. There, the protagonist meets a family, where the members are just programs inside the Matrix. The father reveals that this reality is operated by the trainman, who works under the Merovingian, the one Neo's group had outsmarted in the previous film. When the train arrives, Neo tries to get on with the family, but is blocked by the trainman. The protagonist is powerless, as here, his opponent controls everything.
Down here, I'm God.
And in another development, Seraph asks Trinity and Morpheus to meet the Oracle. At this time, she has a different appearance, as a consequence of her choice. The Oracle informs them about Neo's condition, and although Seraph, Morpheus and Trinity try to chase after the trainman, he still escaped. Thus, the three are forced to go to Hell Club to negotiate with Merovingian to rescue Neo. After dealing with the security forces, the trio confronts Merovingian and wants him to trade the Oracle's eyes for the freedom of the Chosen One. Trinity does not accept this proposal. She alerts the crowd, and they all draw guns on each other. Seeing Trinity's determination to rescue her lover at any cost, the Merovingian had to meet her demands. Although he escaped from the subway train, Neo, confused by the appearance of the Matrix, meets the Oracle again before returning to the real world. The Oracle says Neo has made a connection with the Source, which is why he has the power to destroy robots with just his hands and feet, because both the Matrix and the Machine City are extracted from the Source. Additionally, she tells Neo that Smith is his opposite version, and his increasingly rising energy will harm both the Matrix, the Source, and the Machine City. The Oracle concludes that the battle will eventually end, but she does not know how it will conclude. After Neo leaves, a group of Smiths approaches the Oracle. Meanwhile, Seraph and Sati, the little girl at the train station, are also subdued by the agent. We do not know the fate of the two, but the Oracle is completely overtaken by Smith in body and energy. He smiles maniacally at the future he sees. Outside the real world, the crew of the Nebuchadnezzar boards the Logos, which has been disabled by Niobe. They don't take long to restart the ship. And now, he also awakens, not remembering anything about the horrific event earlier. After waking up, Neo requested to use a ship to infiltrate the Machine City, but couldn't explain why. Roland, the captain of the Hammer, refused adamantly, but Niobe agreed to let the Chosen One use her ship, the Logos. Later, we find out Niobe did so because her prophecy was to help Neo. Fortunately, Neo did not set off alone, but had Trinity with him. The others return to Zion on Commander Roland's Hammer ship. Once underway, they learn that Ben killed someone in the group and hid on the Logos ship, but it's too late to turn back and help. Before Neo and Trinity take off, Ben attacks Trinity and holds her captive, then confronts Neo. At this point, Nam knows he is facing Smith. During the intense battle, Smith burned Neo's eyes with electricity. Thinking the villain had won, Neo counterattacked and killed him, as he could still clearly sense the opponent's movements. At this moment, the Hammer ship is moving very quietly to avoid the attention of the robots, but after a collision, the crew's efforts were in vain because the monsters rushed at the ship like moths to a flame. Despite trying hard to resist, the Hammer ship lost its communications antenna, meaning they can no longer communicate with Zion. At Zion, everyone is preparing their forces before the landing of the monstrous robots. They demonstrate a spirit of resolve.
If we have to give these bastards our lives, we give them hell before we do!
Before a drill pierced through the Zion fortress, sparking the Battle of Con River, humans fought valiantly, but the squids grew more numerous, putting humanity in a tough spot as supplies dwindled. On another front, Z, Lin's wife, along with Comrade Kara, led efforts to disable the destructive machines but failed. Kara even lost his life to the fierce assault of the machines. When the Hammer ship returned, Colonel McFunney was responsible for opening the gate, but he couldn't hold his ground against the Robot Legion's attack. The leader passed away, leaving the responsibility to the energetic young man we knew from the second movie. After some courageous moves, the young man finally opened the gate, just as Hammer charged in bravely. The soldiers immediately activated the electromagnetic pulse on the ship, thereby disabling all machinery in the city, including the defense system of the enemy, forcing the humans to retreat deeper inside for protection. Meanwhile, Neo and Trinity approached the Machine City. The defense system began to retaliate against them with giant squid-like monsters and launched bullets from the side, but Neo used his extraordinary abilities to resist. However, the monsters quickly covered the ship, beyond Neo's control, forcing Trinity to soar above the clouds. And that was when the ship stopped functioning, crashing straight into the ground. Trinity had just restarted the ship when it collided with a nearby machine. Neo luckily survived the impact, but Trinity was severely injured. Because this is the real world, Neo could do nothing but watch his beloved pass away in his arms. Neo negotiates with the leader of the machine conglomerate that Smith is becoming stronger and will flatten everything, and only he can stop it. He made a deal to stop Smith. In exchange for a truce at Zion, the leader agreed and all the machines temporarily stopped, allowing Neo to connect to the Matrix. At this moment, the Matrix only had Smith and his copies. Then, in the pouring rain, Smith and Neo fought like gods. Finally, after a powerful collision, accompanied by relentless strikes, Neo finally falls, and Smith, triumphant, says,
Everything that has a beginning has an end, Neo.
just as the prophet once said about Neo, it means Smith cannot take over her mind. Smith took over Neo's body, but that's when he entered the Source to destroy Smith once and for all. After confirming with the Oracle that the battle had ended, Smith's body glowed and exploded, annihilating all his copies. Thus, life was returned to humanity, including the Oracle. Neo kept his promise to destroy Smith, so the robot army retreated from Zion. While the residents of Zion are celebrating victory, Neo's body is carried away during a time of storm. The final scene of the movie is a dialogue between the Oracle and the Architect. He reproaches her for changing the operation of the Matrix, but she replies that it was worth doing. The Architect also admits that he will free anyone who wants to leave the Matrix, but he adds no conditions. The Matrix trilogy ends with the dawn rising in the machine world, and the tree is just as vibrant as the real world. According to the game The Matrix Online, with the involvement of the Wachowski directing duo, the bodies of both Neo and Trinity are taken to Zion. Thus, it can be confirmed that they still have a chance of survival. Although the answer remains open, it promises to be addressed in Part 4.